I thought we'd have a quick discussion on the topic of both herbs and modern medicine. I even hate saying modern medicine because I believe herbs can be modern medicine. They are, but like so many things these days, these two subjects have become polarized, and I really believe that that's an illusion and it should be viewed more on a spectrum. I know in our household personally, we use both herbs and modern medicine, so it's not like we have necessarily chosen a side one way or the other, and I think a lot of people probably feel the same way. So I just thought it would be worth having a discussion on this. Maybe you're planning on learning more about herbs for the new year and how to use them. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to MrsCrunchy, where we discuss natural living in a modern world. As I touched upon before, I think a lot of us feel like we have to choose a side when it comes to whether or not we want to use herbs or whether we want to go with, more standard medicine like you would find at a drugstore, for example, when treating things. And I'm here to say that personally, I have felt the benefits of both. I definitely slant, I'm MrsCrunchy, so I slant towards the natural version of treatment when possible and when appropriate, but herbs aren't always appropriate for people. So, for example, if you're having severe medical trauma, I'm not going to suggest that you use herbs, nor would it be something that I would do for myself, because we do have, in my opinion, better options these days. And I have personally been the recipient of really good care using herbs and practitioners who use herbs, but also on the flip side, I have received excellent care from doctors, nurses, people who use the more I keep saying modern, but more modern, I guess, version of medicine. So I think that everything has a place, and if we view it more on a spectrum, then we can see that herbs in general, there are some very powerful herbs, no doubt, but in general, herbs tend to be more gentle. They tend to take a little bit longer to work sometimes. Again, not always, but if you are taking herbs, it's suggested to take them usually, throughout the day in small doses. So you might not always have that luxury. You might need a quick fix. And if that's the case, then you might want to go with something a little different. I also felt it was important to make this video because I really don't want people to vilify practitioners of one side versus practitioners of another. I think that it's become very popular, from what I've seen, at least in my feeds, to kind of, place a lot of blame on the modern healthcare system. And I'm not saying that that's not warranted in some instances. I think that everyone has their opinion, a right to their opinion, and they've arrived there usually because of some, reasons, some events that have happened to them maybe. And maybe you've had some bad experiences. And I know that I've had some bad experiences with herbs, and I've also had some bad experiences with modern medicine as well. So I guess my point is I don't want to say that just because I'm on this channel practicing herbs, I don't think modern medicine is evil by any means. And in fact, I'm really grateful for it. There, like I said, have been multiple times in my life where I have use like anesthesia, for example. I was watching this program with my husband on the Pioneers recently. It's just amazing what they didn't have back then and what we kind of take for granted now that we assume has kind of always been around. So you might have had an infection, or you might, just going through childbirth, you might have had complications during childbirth, and you might have just died. And so I'm really grateful that modern interventions do exist.
Speaking of herbs, I'm going to make myself a pot of herbal tea. Today, I'm not trying to treat a specific ailment other than being really chilly because it's an extremely cold day here in New York. Today, I'm going with a rooibos tea, and I'm adding a little bit of lemon balm to it as well. If you do decide to use both herbs and modern medicine, something important you might want to consider is how they work together if you're planning on taking them at the same time. Now, this isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes they actually work together beautifully, and they can increase the efficacy of one another if taken together. However, this can also have a negative effect, and sometimes they should not be used together, certain herbs and certain medicines. So it's really important to speak with someone that you trust and do a lot of research before taking more than one herb or medicine at a time.
I thought it might be helpful if I gave you a specific example of a case where I might use herbs versus when I might use medicine from the drugstore. So it is cold and flu season here, and with colds, I would say 9 times out of 10, for me, myself, I start to feel like a little bit of scratchiness or soreness in my throat. So when I can feel that I have a cold coming on, I usually try to treat it with herbs because I feel like I've caught it early enough. So some things that I might do might be taking more vitamin C supplements. I might take an echinacea tincture in hot water multiple times throughout the day. If I have fire cider, I might sip on a little bit of that, maybe a little bit extra than I normally would throughout the day. If you're not familiar with fire cider, that is a blend of herbs and spices, and they just kind of soak in vinegar, and it's this very potent, delicious, because you add some raw honey to it, delicious mixture, and it's great for when you feel something coming on. So those are some examples of some things I might do with herbs as more of a preventative. Now, things are a little bit different now because I have a little kid and I don't really have the ability to just like lay in bed and recover if I'm feeling sick. So if I'm already sick and my symptoms are acute and I have to be up with him running around, or if I have some sort of like obligation, like work from home obligation that I have to do, then yeah, I might take the drugstore medicine because I need something fast and strong that can just relieve my symptoms. So that's just a simple example of when I might use herbs versus when I might use drugstore medicine. I hope this video has maybe opened up the conversation in between people that feel strongly one way or the other, and really given a voice to a lot of people like myself who I believe really see the benefit in both. And like I said, I do believe that there is a place for all of it. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments below. I'd like to get some really interesting discussions started. And I would say just, yeah, keep an open mind, and what's good for me, what's good for you isn't going to be the same thing. So everyone knows their comfort level and their specific health conditions. They have their own unique experiences. So you really just have to decide what's best for you, and even that might evolve over time based on future experiences. So that is all I have for today. Thank you all for watching. I'm really looking forward to creating some new videos for you in the new year, and I will see you all again soon.